Hello friends, this is Cara-Renee with B.Reborn Art and Healing, coming to you with another tutorial. Today we're going to be doing embossing on embossing. So I love embossing papers of all kinds. I've done videos on that. I love to emboss on chipboard, on fabric, on just all kinds of surfaces. But today I'm going to focus on embossing on my own original coffee dyed mixed media paper. And the reason why I want to use the original is because it's got all the original stuff. So it's got the gold flecks, it's got the actual texture versus a picture of the texture. But I wanted to add another twist to it by adding embossing on embossing. So using embossing powder on top of the embossing. So let me show you what I did off camera. So I'm just going to move this out of my way a bit here just so I have a little bit of room. This is a piece of my own coffee dyed paper, and what I did is I ran it through the embossing machine. I'll show you the folder here in a second, but it's one of my favorite Rose 3D embossing folders. So I'm only going to be working with 3D today. Any of these techniques could be done with your standard embossing folders, but I love the 3D. So I used kaleidoscope powder on this. So I used the VersaFine clear ink, and then I just kind of patted it the whole pad all along the length of the paper. And I cut this piece in half because I wanted to try two different techniques. So this is the kaleidoscope. So it's got that sparkly feature to it, which I think is really beautiful. However, you might not want it to look magical all the time. So I also did one just with standard clear embossing powder. So you can see we've got the shine, but it's not that kind of iridescent, sparkly kind of look. And you can also see that there are bits of it that didn't capture the embossing powder because of the raised areas. So that was that. This is my first one I experimented with. I'm not caring for it because I made the mistake of going over this with a brown embossing powder and then this turquoise embossing powder, and it made it kind of look, I mean, it's okay and I'll use it, but it was not my favorite. So that is that. So I do want to reach and grab my makeup brush because if I want to add some brown ink, I want to be able to do that before I do some embossing. So I've got my embossing machine over here. It is the Sizzix Switch, and I will show you. I'll pull it over a little bit so you can see a little bit better. But we're going to focus on the technique more than focusing on the embossing machine. So I will do, I'll probably cut out some of the embossing because I've got a ton here to do. And I thought I've got the camera on. If I don't do it all while I'm on camera filming, I won't probably do it. Like I won't come back to it, especially right now. So, so basically if you're using the switch, you have this base, so it's that really thick one, and it only requires one plate on the top. So you put your embossing folder in between here and here. So that is all ready to go as well. So the other thing that I did, I've got my heat tool, I've got my tray. This is really handy for embossing, and then I've got my embossing buddy thing, powder thing. And then I pulled two of the Ranger Distress. This is peeled paint and this is broken china, and I thought we'd play with that as well. I've got some gold ink that I thought would be fun to do gold and then emboss it with the clear embossing powder. So we're going to try that as well. And then this is the VersaFine ink. So mine's really dirty, but that doesn't matter for the technique that I am doing. And then here in front of me, I've got clear, I've got kaleidoscope, and I've got opaque bling, which I haven't used this in a long time. So I thought we'd give that a try. I don't like black, so I won't be embossing in black for this tutorial. So I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to grab my Vintage Photo Archival ink, though, in case I want to do some of that inking. So I've already prepared the papers. So I've cut these ones down to the size that is for the smaller 3D embossing folders. And again, these are all my own original coffee dyed mixed media papers that I'm using here. Realized I didn't put on my rings or my watch this morning. I'm still in my pajamas. Don't let this fool you. Oh, I actually do this because you guys have probably noticed if you watched me for any length of time, I do have a lot of scars on my arms, and sometimes it doesn't bother me, and sometimes I'm a little more sensitive, so I have these little lacy, lightweight things that I can put on that just kind of make me feel better. So so I'm in my pajamas with a lacy overcoat. So, and then these are more of the mixed media papers that are from my stash. They're the bigger sections of the papers that I just cut down for those smaller bits. So we've got all of this beauty. So this is what I mean when I say there's a benefit to using the original. See, this is actual gold paint. Can you hear that? That's the actual texture. So I thought it would be fun to try it with that. And then we've got various things, and I've got just some craft card stock I thought I would try. And I thought, since I have everything out, I'm going to do a little bit of embellishing, or a little bit of this technique for the boho waterfall journal that I'm still working on. So I've got 3 pieces from that kit that we will be using. So I'm just going to set that aside, and I'm going to set the little ones aside. And then here are the 3D embossing folders. So I have this long one, which I just love. I don't know if you guys can see it very well, but it makes a beautiful, beautiful edge. And then this one, I haven't used this one yet. It's a sunflower, and then some leaves, a medallion, and some smaller medallions. So this was actually the very first one I ever purchased of a 3D. They're called, this one's called Alterations, something Alterations. So those are the smaller ones. And then this is the one I've been using, my absolute favorite 3D embossing folder. My apologies, guys. A lot of times I go back and try to link these things and I can't find them. So, and part of it is that this one thing I don't like about Sizzix products is there's nothing on here that tells us what this is called. It just says that it's Sizzix. So and I don't keep the original packaging. My studio does not like that. So, and this is another one we'll be using. And this is another one we'll be using, another one of my faves. And then this is a leaf one I thought would be really fun. So let's go ahead and get going. So obviously we don't need any of the embossing stuff quite yet, because we're going to do some embossing before we do the embossing. I hope you're tracking with me. Okay, so let me pull the machine in a little bit closer just for some of these bits. I'm not gonna do it all on camera. Oops, I just unplugged it. Goodness gracious. Okay, let me pull this cord. Oh no, we're stuck. What are we stuck on? There we go. Hopefully that's going to be good enough. So this is the Sizzix Switch. I used to have the Big Shot. So there we go. I think that will do us well. So let's go ahead and get started. I think I'll do the leaf one first. And I'm going to run through I'll run through 2 of the big folders and 2 of the small folders. And then I'll speed the video up or cut that part out and come back to you with all of the embossed paper, and then we can move on to step 2. So I'm just going to slide this in. It's got 2 sides, but I want this side because it's got all that green and luscious brown color. And I'm just going to bring my plate over here, and again, it's just the base with 1 cutting plate on the top. And I've been raving about this machine, guys. If you can swing it, it is a game changer. So here we go. And there you go. There's our beautiful embossing. Isn't that incredible? So I'm going to set that over there, and then we're going to move on. I'm going to only do a couple of these, so I think I'll do this one. Yeah, I think I'll do this one next. And where's my papers? I keep covering them up. No, they're under the plate. Goodness gracious. So I think this one would be really, well, it's a little bit busy, so maybe we'll pick something a little bit calmer. You know what? Actually, this would be nice And this would also be nice at using the, actually using some of the kit paper that I set aside here. Let me grab a piece of that really quick. How about we'll try this one? Okay, whoops. Oh my goodness. Actually, let me just show you two, like I said, and then I'll do a bunch off camera. Oh my goodness, you guys, I'm still, I don't want that one. Well, you know what, I'm going to do them all, so let's just go ahead and just stick this in here and just go for the gusto. I did cut them down pretty much to the size of the folder, reasonably anyway. Here we go. So this is probably going to be a longer video. I think I'm going to go ahead. Oh, look at that. Oh my gosh, look at that. That is epic. That'll be beautiful in the waterfall, the boho waterfall journal as well. So I'm actually going to go ahead and speed this up altogether. So you don't need to see me talk, hear me talk about every single one of these. So I'm going to go ahead and speed through some of these bits. Alrighty, so let me show you. I'm going to get the machine out of the way here really quick, and then I'm going to show you all the ones that I kind of sped through so you can see what they look like. Epic, epic, epic. Love it. There we go. Okay, so we've got a stack. I did all of the paper that I had. Oh, it looks like I did all the paper that I had. So let me move this closer. So we've got the leaves. So I think I'm going to just highlight this one with, yeah, actually I'm going to do that right now while we're just chatting here. So I'm going to use my vintage photo. You know what? No, I want to do this one with green embossing powder. So I changed my mind on that. I'm going to do this one with clear VersaFine ink, and then I'm going to use green embossing. So let's put that aside. And then we've got these two little edger pages here from the boho collection from Reach and Bella Crafts. We've got some medallions. Look at that medallion. Is that amazing or what? So we'll decide what we want to ink and what we're going to do as we come back to that. Look at that one with all that gold. It's just absolutely, even just like it is, it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And then we've got some other smaller little medallions. Again, this is the very first 3D embossing folder I ever purchased, and I love it. We've got this one on the coffee dyed paper, another one of my faves for embossing. This one I think I do want to, well, again, we'll wait. My roses. The kit paper, this is the leaf embossing folder. And then this one, isn't that gorgeous? This one hardly needs anything. I think I'll do some clear on that one. And then another one of the flower on this kind of a greenish brown back. The roses again. I don't know what this design is called, but I love it. The kit paper, this is the same one as this on the kit paper, again from the boho collection. And that one again, I must really like that one. And then the leaves. So this is going to get messy. Messy, messy, messy. Let's start with I'm going to do a couple, well, I'm going to try to, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you all of them, but I'm going to talk little and speed through parts of it so that we can shorten the video a little bit. So let's start with this one right here, since I had the epic idea. So I want to emboss this one with clear embossing ink, and then the green powder, the peeled paint powder. So I'm going to move those out of there so I can use the tray. Got a little bit of blue residue in here, so I'm going to wipe that out really quick. The only thing I don't like working with powders is I find this powder for days. All over the floor, all over my desk, in every nook and cranny. So there we go. So I've got my VersaFine clear ink. Ooh, you know what? This one might be pretty, and nope, that won't work. The gold has to be just straight up gold embossing, I believe. So I'm going to go ahead and actually let me use my powder thing. I didn't do that before. I don't know what effect that's going to have. I always forget to use it, so I'm just going to pat that down. And then I just kind of pick it up and look at it to see if I actually can see the shine of the embossing powder, the embossing ink. I'm not really seeing it. There we go. This might need some more ink, so I'm pressing a little bit harder. Is that better? Let's see if we got another ink pad here. Watermark, yeah, this one might be better. Let me just wipe the top of that off and see if this is any better. Yes, let's switcheroo here. I think that one might be a little dried out. So let's set that over there and try again. There, that's much better. Much better. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this in our little tray. And I'm going to use the peeled paint. This is from Distress line. I don't think I want it really to be everywhere, so let's, actually I do. Let's just cover the whole thing. The brown is still going to show through where it's not textured, so there we go. For some reason we're not really sticking. Okay, and I'm going to just do this cleanup as I go, otherwise it'll get really overwhelming for me. So I'm just going to get this back in the bottle. And I'm going to wipe, oh, there's one everywhere. Wipe that tray out. Okay. So let's get our heat tool over here. So I like to start it first and let it get warmed up. So I'm not really sure why I'm not getting a green effect on this, but I still love it. Look at that. But I'm not sure why I'm not getting the green. This is, yeah, it's embossing. Oh, it's embossing glaze. Maybe that's why. But I still don't see any green, but that's okay. It's still really, really beautiful. I do advise that you cap these as you go, otherwise you can have a mess. Okay, so that's one. So let's go ahead and do, I want to do a shiny one. Let's do a shiny one on this. So we're going to go ahead and use our VersaFine clear ink and the Kaleidoscope powder. I'm going to get my baby wipe here because my surface is getting sticky from that ink. There we go. Okay. Alrighty, so let's get our tray over here. And we've got our Kaleidoscope powder. I've had this forever and a day. I don't even know when I bought it. Back in my scrapbooking days. Okay, so we're just going to get this on here. I much prefer these big tubs for the powder because it is a lot easier to clean up. There we go. Alrighty, see what we got. And then the other benefit of that is you don't have to use the little spouty thing. You can just pour in, which is faster. So again, cleaning as I go, otherwise we get a mess. And you can blow your powder around, which can be really frustrating. So I'm having trouble for some reason bringing my thing. Oh, there we go. Maybe it was just stuck there. Gosh, this is so magical, you guys. Look at that. Can you see the glitter? Wowza. I am thrilled with that. That's going to be so beautiful. Probably a pocket or a side tuck in the waterfall journal that I'm still working on. So I'm going to move the camera back up a little bit. Can't see my jammies, guys. I think this one would also be very, very pretty with the kaleidoscope. So I'm going to let's do a couple of the small ones here just so you can kind of see what they look like as well. I think I'm going to use the kaleidoscope on these two pieces because they're for the boho journal as well. So now if you like to use the embossing pins, you could kind of direct and control where this ink goes, but I don't have the energy for that level of fussiness. So I'm going to just continue on as I have. Actually, maybe we should try the bling. Let's try the bling. This is opaque bling. I'm not sure what that means. It kind of looks silvery, but I haven't used it in a long time, so let's try it. Let's try it. Maybe it'll have the same effect. It's just called something else. I'm not sure. Did I put the ink on? Yes, I did. It's still a little spacey, you guys. Just trying to push on through. There we go. Set those aside. Pour back in. Tap this baby up. And let's heat them up. See what we get. Yeah, so I'm not liking that. It's very shiny, but I should have known by the name. Opaque means you can't see through it. It's not transparent. So I'm going to pause on that. I'm going to try to brush some of this off into my garbage. Hold on. Okay, I got some of the powder off. Let's see what result we get. So I think by wiping, I wiped off a lot of the powder. I mean the ink, but I like that, so we're gonna leave that as it is. So those are those two pieces. Not my favorite. I should have known by the name of it. Opaque means you can't see through it. So let's do a couple of these other little ones, and then I'm going to speed this up. As you can see, I am favoring the kaleidoscope just because what I'm going to use these for, I believe, will be really beautiful. So let me just get some of that on the little sunflower. You can just lay this in the tray, but I don't want to try to fuss and get it out. There we go. And then our little medallion. Beautiful. There we go. And tap, tap. Get our powder back in here. So I'm going to show you these two, and then I'm going to speed through. I'm going to just speed the video up and complete all the embossing, and I'll come back to you and show you the results. this one is delicious because we've got that sparkle, but we also have that gold. Look at that. And I'm covered in shiny, glittery stuff. It's kind of cool. It feels like I escaped my real life into fairyland. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and speed through this, and I'll be back with you in a little bit. So I'm not a fan of the glaze. I'm going to tell you that right now. So I'm going to just keep this live here in real time for a few minutes. And we're going to do a couple of these that we haven't, some of the designs we have not yet done or experimented too much with. So let's do these two. So I think on this one, I'm going to just do some archival ink and some clear embossing powder just to kind of make it shiny. So just kind of go over it like so. I mean, even just like this, it's so beautiful. But I thought, wow, what would it be like to do embossing on embossing? Like, such a creative idea. I haven't seen it anywhere. Maybe somebody's done it, but I haven't seen it. There we go. So let's do the same with this one. Just for the heck of it. I've got a line of from the actual dyeing, or the dyeing and the mixed media paper process, that I've got this line going down the side. It's okay. Okay. Because I love this effect as well, just the highlighting of the brown on top of that texture. But this video is about embossing on embossing. So let's go ahead and do the clear. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm going to think about that a second. Let me just get this ink on here. If it gets on the flat part of the paper, that's okay. Of course, you could try to control that a little bit more. Let me go ahead and ink this one too, so that we can just kind of move through this a little bit quicker. I actually think I'm going to use the kaleidoscope on this one and the clear on this one. So let's do that. Let's see, get my container here. Got so much in front of me. There we go. So let's just go ahead and get some of this on here. See what happens. Yeah, we're going to get some of that ink all over the base, but that's okay. Again, you could use a pen if you wanted to kind of control where this embossing, where your embossing ink is going, but I'm not too concerned about it. So, not sure why I'm using that cup right now. This would be much faster. Just pour. Be helpful to pull out of the corner though. There we go. Okay, so let me get rid of this. Okay, I'm going to move that. I'm not following my own rules and putting that cap on, but I'm tired. Okay, so let's do the kaleidoscope on this one. So beautiful. Just so beautiful. Now I would get a similar effect if I used copies of my mixed media paper, because it still shows the texture. It's just visual rather than physical. So I'm just going to set that over there. I think these will be our last two, and then I'm going to do the rest of them off camera, and you'll be able to see the results in the photos at the end. So let me just heat set this really quick. Okay, my friends, I think these are my favorite. So check this out. So we got that embossing on the base here and here and on our texture. Isn't that epic? That is absolutely stunning. And then this one as well, really beautiful. Depends on the look you're going for. So again, this is very iridescent and shiny and sparkly, but I love that look. So let's go through all of them. And again, I will do the others off camera, and I'll show you in the pictures at the end. So as I mentioned, I think I talked about this one. I love that. I love the gold and the sparkly is really beautiful. This one was the embossing glaze, and again, I'm not a fan. So, because this almost looks black, it's like almost like a really deep green. But I do love the effect. Like, I love that you see the lighter brown in the underneath, but I won't probably be doing that again. This is the one where I brushed off some of the powder and ink so that it didn't become so opaque like this one, and I just didn't pay attention to the name of the powder. It's opaque bling. So, and then this was the gold ink with the clear embossing, and I love that. Very beautiful, very a lot more subtle look than some of our other things. Again, this one is the leaves. Same thing, gold ink with the clear embossing powder. I think I showed you this one. I love this so much with the bling. So that's the clear ink. And then this one as well with the bling, or the kaleidoscope, excuse me, the kaleidoscope powder. And then this one was also, I believe this was the Distress glaze in peeled paint, which, like, seriously guys, do you really see a difference between these two? I mean, this one's darker, but it's kind of weird. Not what I expected. So I will show you photos at the end of the video. I will continue as I've been, and I will show all those to you as well. See you next time, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.